What's up, everybody? Welcome. Lance, how are we doing?
We are doing fantastically, my guy.
How was your weekend?
I mean, other than having my soul ripped out of me at the end of that fourth quarter,
Yeah,
we're doing okay.
my soul was
okay.
spit out and chewed out and just bit out, and it was absolutely terrible in so many different ways. But we recover, we bounce back, and we flex on them, right, Chad? That's what we do around here. So we got. Have you guys noticed that Lance is like not even low key, just like swole, like straight up?
Okay.
Like, yeah, like swole out here.
To go there.
You guys see that? I was like, damn. Okay, all right, really out here, really flexing on him. Shit. Viking, right. Welcome in. Nerd, welcome in. Conquest, Morty, Faye, Amanda, everybody. Thank you for being here. This is YARD39, a collaborative podcast between Lancelot Gaming and myself. Lance, I mean, anything to start the show? Anything you want to say off the bat? How was your stream earlier today?
My stream earlier today was fantastic. Played Overwatch for the first time, so that was definitely a mood. But yes, I want to repeat what Swag says. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. We really appreciate it. First two episodes have been great, and we're getting ready for another absolutely banger.
Yeah, so YARD39 will debut either on my channel or Lance's channel. Right now we're fluctuating every week on Tuesdays at 6 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. And then, of course, after this, if it's on me on my channel, I will then just stay live, and then you guys will see your regularly scheduled content at 7:30, which will be more Genshin tonight. So stay tuned for that. It should be fun. We'll go.
I was thinking about, you usually always stream after the end of the podcast, right?
Yes. So yeah. No, I always stream. Yeah, 7:30. 7:30 Mountain Standard Time, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. We go live. So let's step right into it, man. Like, it was an interesting week in football. Some surprises, some teams that like kind of said, okay, maybe this team can separate themselves from the pack, and some upsets there. So we have a list of games. First, guys, the way the podcast is going to kind of work is we'll review the previous week, kind of just talk about a multitude of topics in between, and then we'll be jumping over to looking forward and previewing week 3. So the first game I kind of want to talk about and get into, and I would love to hear your thoughts on. We had the Rams over the Colts, and I just kind of want to talk about that game. What were your initial thoughts? What do you think of Stafford over in LA, and how do you kind of what are your just initial opinions over that?
So my initial thought is like just my prevailing kind of overarching thing is just like I feel so bad for Matthew Stafford that he couldn't play with a team like this his entire career, because I feel like a lot of people sleep on him all the years that he spent in Detroit, but playing with an actual team is showing me that Matthew Stafford is a legit quarterback in this league. Like, I think he's looked really good over these 2 weeks, and I think the Rams are going to be big contenders in the NFC playoff picture for sure. But as far as the actual game itself goes, I mean, like, he did throw an interception, but he also had, almost 300 yards. He had 2 touchdowns. The running game, they did their job, over 100 yards on the ground total. Really balanced attack. I think the Colts, I kind of expected them to be a little bit better. I didn't think that they'd be 0-2 by this point in the season, but I mean, the Rams are a really good football team. Also, Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
Sprained both of his ankles on the same play, I guess is what the article that I read.
Can we all just get off and admit that Carson Wentz is not good at football? He had one fluke year, like 2 mediocre years, and the rest of the years he's been absolute garbage. Like, I don't know if this is his 4th or 5th year in the league, but last year he was terrible. The year before that he was declining. He had that one good year, and I thought he was going to be the MVP. He was fantastic. He was on my fantasy team, and but like, it's just gone downhill. It's like he started up here, and as a quarterback he's just trending this way. He also the best ability is availability, and he's injury prone. It's like every single year he he's getting hurt, and if he's not getting hurt, he's getting benched. Like,
Right.
I don't know.
Wasn't he also hurt in the like preseason, and he was just like barely healthy by the time the
Yeah,
season started?
he had surgery in the preseason, and then game 2 sprains both of his ankles. I don't know. I'm not a big believer in him, so that's kind of where I'm at. And kind of going back to this game, Carson played okay. He was 20 of 31 for 247 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Took 3 sacks, had an overall QBR 57.3, and a passer rating of 86.3. So, yeah, not a good QBR. I mean, again, just he played most of the game, and from when I was watching it, I felt like the Rams were in the control most of it, and then really kind of I just never really felt like Carson was going to do anything, and he kind of just continues to prove that on a week in, week out basis. I do echo your thoughts on Stafford. Big arm, can make all the throws, is a smart football player, doesn't force the ball too much, uses his check downs. He had an average rating of 9.3 yards per attempt, which is pretty outstanding. 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, got sacked once, and still young. I mean, for a quarterback, I believe he's like 31, 32 years old, if not maybe 30. A little bit younger. Also, Nuke, welcome in. I saw the Rams winning this game. I think they are a contender. But I don't think the win over the Colts is something that is going to be so far telling of that. I don't think the Colts are that good of a team. I'm not a believer in Carson Wentz. I think he's an average quarterback at best, who's already kind of, had his shining moment in his career. So
right. And definitely if he's going to be out for multiple weeks with both of these ankle injuries, which you assume he probably couldn't keep playing, on 2 bum ankles.
Right.
It looks like Jacob Eason is going to be their backup quarterback going forward. And I mean, like, in limited action this time, granted, with probably not much time to prep and to, learn the game plan for the week. I mean, he still went 2 of 5, only 25 yards and an interception. I mean, if the Colts season wasn't already done, it's definitely not looking good. I already thought that Tennessee was going to win their division. So, I mean, they're going to be looking at a wild card spot, for my personal opinion. And that mountain just got a little bit harder to climb if Carson Wentz is going to be missing significant time.
Well, especially in the AFC, right? I mean, looking through the AFC this year is, in my opinion, the much stronger conference. I think the AFC West is probably the strongest conference in the division. You have the Browns who are looking relatively good. You have the Bills, you have the Dolphins, you have the Patriots, you have the Raiders, the Steelers, the Broncos who are 2-0. The Chargers.
Granted, I mean, they beat up on Jacksonville. But
the Chiefs, the Ravens. Again, I don't know. I just don't see out of the, what is it? Is it 8 teams that go now to the playoffs, or is it 9 teams?
Yes, it's 8 and 8. Yep.
Yeah, so I just don't see them. I don't see them coming out of the top 8 in the AFC. I don't know. Again, I don't think Carson is it for them. So, with the injury to Carson Wentz, just because it's a topic of conversation, do you see them ever going out and looking at like a Nick Foles?
I mean, I think that really depends on how long he's going to be out for. I haven't seen, if he's projected to miss, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever. Mm-hmm. I think if it's going to be a long-term thing, then yes, they might want to look at upgrading their quarterback position. But I would imagine if it's only going to be a week or 2, depending on the severity of the sprains, I mean, they're probably just going to have faith in their system and their backup quarterback to, know the playbook and be ready to step in if he's needed. I mean, that's what the backups get paid for. So.
Right. Any more to add on the Rams versus Colts?
I guess the only other thing that I want to say is the NFC West might be like the best division in football, and like people are gonna look back and say, you know, they beat the Colts, and that's not that impressive. But I mean, like staying 2-0 in their division, which is just gonna be ridiculously tough. Like that's huge for the Rams.
Yeah, I mean, what that division consists of, it's the Rams, the 49ers, the Cardinals, and Seattle.
Yes.
All playoff teams in my mind.
Yeah, they easily could, and we'll get to Arizona here in a little while. But yeah, I mean, that's
Tyler
probably
Murray
the best division in all of football, yeah.
Is balling. He's putting on a show so far this year and just doing absolutely some stupid things out. He is. He's
finally living up to that, you know, the best quarterback drafted since Patrick Mahomes label that I've been hearing over the last couple years from him.
Moving on, what do we think of? Pulling up my notes here. The Bills over the Dolphins, 35-0. Now keep in mind, Tua I can't say it right now. Tua. Yeah, so you know, Tua goes down. I actually don't know. I didn't catch much of this game. I'm not sure when he did go down. It looks like Jacoby Brissett still threw the ball 40 times, so I'm guessing it was actually relatively early in the game.
It was in the first half, yeah.
You know, Josh Allen, 17 of 33, 179 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Actually not that impressed by those stats overall. I guess they did rush.
Right.
You know, Devin Singletary was their leading rusher with 13 carries, 82 yards, 1 touchdown. Did the defense score? Where did they score these 35 points?
Zach Moss had 2 rushing touchdowns. Their backup running back.
Okay.
He was 8 of 26 for 2 touchdowns. Devin Singletary had another one, and then Josh Allen threw 2. Threw 2 touchdown passes. So, which you know, me having Zach Moss on my bench, that was a great week for that. So.
Overall thoughts. You know, coming out of this game. You know, where's your head at?
I think Buffalo finally looked like the team that everyone, you know, kind of billed them to be in the preseason. I think a big win like this against a division opponent is exactly what they needed after getting beaten by the Steelers in week 1. And, you know, I think we all think Buffalo is still a good team, and they're going to definitely be like a deep playoff contender in this game. Just kind of proved that. But on the other side of the coin, I mean, like, what a crushing loss for Miami, you know, after that close win against the Patriots in week 1. You know, and then Tua getting injured and everything. Like, I know there were a lot of people, yourself included, I think, who were kind of high on Miami this year, and a loss like this plus losing your star quarterback has just got to be demoralizing. So
just to say hello to the people who are popping in, guys. This is YARD39, a football focused podcast by Lancelot Gaming and myself, Cal. Welcome in. So yeah, we do this every Tuesday at 6 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, and then of course after that at 7:30 we'll be moving on to my regular scheduled programming. We'll be playing some Genshin tonight. It's gonna be absolutely lit. It's gonna be a great time. But yeah, if you guys are not following my co-host here, Lance a lot Gaming, absolutely S tier gamer, Pokemon trainer extraordinaire, and just a great overall dude. Go follow him. He's a blast and just a lot of fun to watch. So, yes. So I actually think I took Miami in this game.
You did.
I did take Miami. I couldn't have been more wrong. The score to this game was 35-0, Buffalo versus Miami, guys. In an absolute blowout. Miami's quarterback Tua did only throw 4 attempts, and then he was injured the rest of the game. For whatever reason, I think I've always felt with Tua that it seems like he's getting kind of the short end of the stick in so many different situations. He came into the league injured. He had a big injury coming out of college from coming out of Alabama. He had a pretty decent year 1, and there's always, for some reason, there's just trade rumors surrounding him, and I'm like, you got to give the kid at least a year or 2 to kind of like really prove himself and do something,
right?
Before we're just gonna absolutely sleep on him. I mean, we've been giving Carson Wentz like 4 years to get good now again. So
Right.
I think
he's kind of getting the same stigma that you just gave to Carson Wentz, though. I mean, like, you know, he's also seems to be a little bit more injury prone.
Yeah,
than you would like him to be. So.
Yeah, so he went down in the first quarter with actually a rib injury. They're not sure on timeline yet. But overall, I mean, I guess, you know, I was wrong in my prediction, but I'm not shocked to see it. I do think of, you know, Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills as a Super Bowl contending team. I think they're that good. I think they are top tier in the AFC, right along with with the Browns, the Browns, the Ravens, and the Chiefs. I think they're right there. And I don't think I don't think anybody should be shocked to see this game. I did think it'd be a closer game, and you know, and it's odd because, you know, they do have Devontae Parker, they have Myles Gaskin, Mike Gesicki, Albert Wilson is still there, which is interesting. Yeah. Good player. But you know they have the first overall pick in Tua Tagovailoa, but you know, just I guess the pieces aren't coming together the way they did. And I guess, you know, looking back to when I'm thinking about this pick, I remember the Chiefs played them last year, and they played the Chiefs tough. That defense was getting after it. I think they picked off Mahomes like 2 or 3 times in that game. Yeah, and it, you know, it just like young team with great coaching. You know, I kind of expected to see them up and up this year, but I guess what that is still to be seen. So.
Yeah, I don't really know if you chalk this game up to just their youth and inexperience, which they do have, I think, one of the younger rosters in the NFL, so that definitely is part of it. But I mean, like, I also give a lot of credit just to the, like, absolute dominance of the Buffalo Bills. I mean, they held Miami to under 216 total yards. Like, in 4 quarters of football, that is just outrageous. Tua or not, like, Miami couldn't get a running game going. Yeah. They fumbled the ball twice, you know, lost the turnover margin. Like, Buffalo just played a complete game, just dominance on both sides of the ball. And when Buffalo plays like that, I mean, even though Josh Allen's stat line, like you said, 17 to 33, 179, 2 touchdowns and a pick, that's not, you know, eye-popping stats. But when your defense is playing as good as their defense is, you know, that's more than good enough to get the job done, especially when you also have a running game. I mean, they put up, you know, almost 200 yards on the ground too. So
yeah, Josh Allen had 5 carries for 35 yards. Devin Singletary had 13 carries for 82 yards. Zach Moss again 8 carries for 26 yards and 2 touchdowns. So good game running the ball for the Bills. You know, kudos to their offensive line for, I mean, obviously doing a good job blocking and getting other guys getting in the end zone. So I'm ready to move on from this game. I mean,
right,
not too much more to talk about here. You know, we'll the Bills play. Who do the Bills play next week? Let's see. The Bills play. Oh, here we go. Washington next week, which again I expect the Bills to win that game. Right. Miami plays. Really, I mean, Miami's 0-2.
Miami's 1-1.
1-1 actually. Okay.
Yeah. They beat New England in week 1.
They play the Raiders, who the Raiders is a team we're about to talk about here shortly. So let's jump into the Ravens over the Chiefs.
I dread talking about this game.
Tough game.
Really tough.
Do you want me to lead this one, or?
Yeah, go for it.
You know, I thought the Chiefs should have won this game by 2 scores. I'm obviously biased. I'm a huge Chiefs fan. I've you know, I bleed red and yellow, and I absolutely love this team. That said, I think, you know, this was the first time, if I'm being completely honest, and I'm thinking about the Chiefs, our defense is scary bad. You know, I think Lamar Jackson did a fantastic job becoming Superman, especially overcoming the 2 picks he threw in the first quarter to lead them back to victory. But we couldn't
stop a nosebleed.
Could not stop a nosebleed. It was that bad. I mean, he was throwing the ball all over us all game. I mean, he looks like an elite quarterback for passing the ball, running the ball. The team rushing was using their 4th and 5th running backs after all the ACL tears, just running it all over us. And Chris Jones was absent. You know, Tyrann Mathieu did a little bit on defense. Did we have God, what is his name?
Frank Clark?
No, the second year linebacker. Was he back in? Willie Gay Jr.?
Yes, I do believe that he played in this game.
He did play. That's just scary to see. You know, I think the Chiefs typically their defense tends to come around maybe mid-season to late season,
right?
And starts to piece things together. But at the end of the day, it's you know, looking at how tough the AFC is right now between all the teams we just kind of discussed and mentioned earlier. I think the Chiefs rolled back to the Super Bowl is a little bit tougher than I was anticipating, and I think. Right. You know, I think the Chiefs have their work cut out from them, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Offensively, I think they look great. You know, I wasn't thrilled with the one interception that Pat threw, but that happens.
Yeah, I mean that's just, you know, with Patrick Mahomes, sometimes you just have to take the good with the bad. He's the guy that trusts in his arm so much that he's gonna make some stupid plays like that. But I mean,
Mayo, welcome in, baby. How you doing? Yeah, I mean, what were your overall thoughts?
So, kind of like you said, I think we should have won this game. You know, this should have been a 2-score game. Especially, you know, the Ravens opened the game. Lamar Jackson, like, immediately throws a pick 6 to Tyrann Mathieu. You know, we're up 7-0 like that. Tyrann Mathieu actually had 2 interceptions in the game. He was really the only defender that I thought, you know, really played a good game.
First game back, too.
Yeah. I will say Nick Bolton, our second-round rookie linebacker that we drafted this year, he has actually impressed me with a couple really good tackles and stuff. I think that he's going to end up being like a standout piece for our defense this year, and especially going forward. But I mean, when you look at Patrick's stat line, yeah, he had the 1 interception. He also threw almost 350 yards. You know, 24-31, 343, 3 touchdowns. Like, Patrick did everything that he needed to do. I think our main problem is one. Our defense, pass defense is okay. Our run defense is atrocious, and I'm tired of saying that as a Chiefs fan. I feel like I say that every single year. Our team just, I don't know why they can't coach, you know, how to tackle running backs, but
broken tackles, missed tackles.
It's so bad. Like, I don't know why our run defense is so bad. We have so many good people on our defense, you know, like Tyrann Mathieu, like Frank Clark, like Chris Jones.
I think,
you know?
I think, in my opinion, I think Frank Clark is, you know, somewhat overrated. I don't think he's that good of a player. I think he's okay. I think he had some good years in Seattle, and I don't think he's ever kind of lived up to those same expectations here with Kansas City. I also, you know, I think Willie Gay Jr. Is going to be someone who will, you know, come around for him. So I am a believer in him. Mm-hmm. But, you know, he's only a second-year linebacker. He didn't play that much last year. It's going to take him a while for him to kind of come around. I do think our secondary is better than a lot of people think. You know, Snead, the rookie, is I think is going to be a top cornerback when it's all said and done.
Yeah, L'Jarius Sneed is great. Juan Thornhill is also good. Tyrann Mathieu. Like, we have good defensive backs at least.
Yeah, for sure. So I do think we can kind of stop the pass, which makes me think, why don't we you know, push the box a little more and put a little more, like, you know, get 7 in the box and you know, just play man defense on the outside, especially against a team like the Ravens that are going to run the ball. That's how they won. That's all they did was run the ball last game. And we knew they were going to still beat us. You know, go ahead.
That's right there. The thing that blows my mind is, like, you knew that they were going to do that because that's their thing. I think Lamar Jackson's a fantastic player, but I still am one of those people in the camp that he's a little bit more of a running back than a quarterback, in my personal opinion.
Yeah. I walked away from this game really impressed, though. Even against a porous defense like Kansas City, I was like, he was the best player on the field.
Yeah.
Last night. I mean, I think Pat had a great game. I don't want to take anything away from Pat, but and I think the Chiefs. I don't think we're having this conversation. I think as a Chiefs fan, I'm still concerned about our defense. But you know, if Clyde doesn't fumble the ball with less than 2 minutes left, on our own, 38-yard line, the Chiefs would have kicked that field goal and win the game. And then we're looking at 2-0, and that was another mistake that we just can't happen. And it kind of goes back to what we talked about last week, and just like Clyde was playing okay. He just doesn't seem like he's integrating himself. That he's not really part of the offense. They don't do a whole lot with them. They don't put him in motion that much, and I don't know.
13 carries for 46 yards. I mean, you're averaging 3.5 yards a carry. No touchdowns. You have that critical fumble that ends the game.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised after the season.
I expected more out of him at this point in his career. This being his second year now, I expected more out of him, to be completely honest.
Especially how we're seeing running backs coming out of college and just kind of hit the ground running, right? They're good to go, and just it feels like a lot of them are already NFL ready. It's not like the old days where they need a few years to get good. No, they're good.
Right.
They're good now and then. Yeah, it's a tough game. I think the Chiefs overall will bounce back. I'm not too concerned, but the defense is leaving an eye up for me, and with only one bye week for the top overall seed in the playoffs, I just don't think the Chiefs have a lot more room for error with how good the AFC is this year.
Right, exactly, and I mean, we do have some young linebackers and stuff, like Nick Bolton, like Willie Gay Jr.
Yeah.
So I mean, give him a little bit of time. Hopefully, as the season progresses, they'll get better. But we can't have too many more games like that if we expected, lock down the number 1 seed in the conference. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
We're already, the Raiders and the Broncos are both already 2-0. I actually saw an interesting statistic, which I thought was funny. This is the first time since Patrick Mahomes became the starting quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs that we have not been the number 1 team in the AFC West.
Well, first loss in September.
Yeah, exactly.
Ever.
Exactly.
So, I think that's telling. I think the Chiefs will be fine. The Chiefs play the Chargers and Kansas City this next coming week. Another good team. I mean, I think our strength of schedule is no joke, especially through our first 6-7 games.
Right.
We play some really tough teams. I think it lightens up a little bit after that. But we're gonna get battle tested here, and the Chargers are gonna come to play with it starts with an H. Justin Herbert coming to town. Again, a young rookie quarterback, or a second-year quarterback. He was probably 6'5", 6'6", like a young Ben Roethlisberger, maybe a little more mobile. So
yeah, Justin Herbert's no joke. He's good.
No joke, and
he's definitely good.
I think San Diego's well coached. They got some good receivers over there. Have a pretty good offense, and obviously Bosa and some great players on the defense. I think we'll see what happens. So, any more thoughts on the Chiefs versus Ravens, Lance?
I guess the only other last thing I wanted to say is, like, despite how bad our defense played, like, that's the thing about having Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback, is even though we let the Ravens score 36 points and everything like that, like, if Clyde doesn't fumble the ball right there, I mean, we were already in field goal range. We get another 10 yards, bleed the clock, we win that game. Like,
right.
With Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback, it's almost one of those things where it seems like it doesn't matter how bad your defense is, he's always going to keep you in the game late, and you just have to not make a big mistake like that. So,
I mean, the past 3 years with Pat, when we went to the AFC Championship the first year and lost to we lost the Patriots that year.
Yeah.
Won the Super Bowl the next year, and then lost again last year. None of those defenses were elite by any means. I think the defense always does kind of harden up towards the end of the season. I think they start playing a little bit better. I think especially on the secondary side of things. It would just make it a lot easier if we had a defense that could create turnovers, put us in a little bit of a better field position, and set us up to win. But
just be average, dude. Just be like, the 14th, 15th best defense in the league. And
right.
with our offense, that's going to be good enough to win a Super Bowl. Like, right. You literally just need to be average.
Right. Let's go and move on. I don't want to talk about it too much more. I'm over it. I was in a bad mood Sunday night, and
absolutely.
Moving on, the Chiefs will be all right, and you know we gotta give a shout out to the Ravens and everything they're
They
doing.
definitely deserved that win. They played a good game. I don't want to make it sound like they shouldn't have won or whatever. They did play a fantastic game.
They did. I mean, Lamar Jackson is for real, and he kind of just reminds us all why he's so special. So, moving on, let's see where we are at. Guys, by the way, if you're just now tuning in, welcome to YARD39. This is the only second time it's been featured on my channel. But if you guys are kind of curious as to what this is YARD39, a football-focused podcast that me and Lancelot are doing every Tuesday at 6 Mountain Standard Time, and it fluctuates channels every week. So if it's on my channel this week, it'll be on Lance's next week, and then yeah, it's gonna be great. So, and then of course after this here at 7:30, so here in about 15 minutes, we'll move over to our regularly scheduled programming. We'll do a short intermission for a few minutes, and then we'll be playing Genshin Impact, just like every Tuesday. So, you welcome in. Stream's been fantastic. We're just talking about a little bit of football. So, yeah, I'll be working on my but so I'm so down for this topic. Let's go, Ian.
Let's go.
Iceman has a good point. Yeah, Lamar Jackson did want that win.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I feel like
he was so tired of hearing like, you've never beaten Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, and I feel like that team wanted that win a little bit. But I think the Chiefs are resilient, and I think they'll use that as motivation. I know Patrick Mahomes isn't going to sleep on this, so.
Oh no, absolutely.
And he'll get that team fired up, and he'll probably blitz them and put them on ice and put them on skates in practice this week when they're doing 7-on-7. So,
put his defense on skates.
Let's talk about another team, and something I'm not shocked by, but
I'm shocked.
Pleasantly surprised.
I'm shocked.
The Raiders over the Steelers. The final score to this game was, let me pull it up.
26-17.
26-17.
Like they won by 9 points. Like that's a 2-score game. That's much more than I thought that they would do against the Steelers defense.
Derek Carr 382 yards, 28 of 37, 2 touchdowns, no picks. A QBR of 79.3 and a passer rating of 126.2.
That's what we're talking about. Derek Carr and the Raiders.
And the Raiders.
Those are Patrick Mahomes, like Peyton Manning type of numbers right there against what I consider to be
an elite defense.
The best defensive units in football. Like, what year is it?
You know, I guess I'm not like I've never thought of Derek Carr as any kind of scrub. We know he can play. He's demonstrated that in the past. I think he, fluctuates between. He typically stays in between like average to just above average quarterback in the league. He kind of hovers there.
Right.
He kind of has his down years, but how much of
he has
that?
Those little flashes.
Yeah.
Like he might be really good.
Yeah, and I don't know how much of that I attribute to coaching and just the scenario that he's been in. He did have that big injury a few years ago. Obviously, he's recovered from that. But overall, yeah, I'm impressed to see the Raiders win convincingly this way. I mean, you got to chop it up some. That Peyton Barber only ran the ball 13 times for 32 yards, so it looks like the rushing attack wasn't really there. It was just all kind of through the air, and just kind of airing it out.
Neither team really did much on the ground. I'm looking at the total stats for the game. The Raiders had 52 rushing yards as a team, which you would think like, oh, that's terrible. How do you only do 52 rushing yards in a game? The Steelers only had 39 rushing yards in the entire game. Like,
I'm not shocked by that.
Neither team was able to do anything on the ground. So, and then you look at the passing numbers, 373 to 292. Yep. Vegas over Pittsburgh. So, I mean, yeah. The Raiders had almost 100 more total yards than the Steelers did. Big Ben threw a critical pick. Yeah, so, I mean, I'm a little bit surprised. And I'm a man of my word. I said last week that, you know, for me to start really considering the Raiders to be a legit contender, I needed to see them have a little bit of consistency and stack some good wins in a row. And so far through 2 weeks of the NFL season, they have done that. So they are on my radar.
Do we attribute this more to good Raiders though, or bad Steelers?
Man, I don't know what to think anymore, to be completely honest with you. I mean, like,
we have a small sample size, right? So it's kind of hard to really tell.
Only 2 weeks, right? I mean, like, when I look at it on paper, you know, the Steelers still seem like the better football team to me on paper. I think that, like, probably 7 out of 10 times that they would win this game. Maybe I am just sleeping on the Raiders. Maybe it is just me, you know, being the Chiefs fan that I am. I don't know. But the way that I look at it, I would think that the Steelers would be the better team. Especially with how elite I think their defense is. And I mean, especially considering the fact that the Raiders didn't even have Josh Jacobs. He didn't even play because of his ankle injury or his quad injury, whatever it is. And they still, like, you know, beat the Steelers by 2 scores. That's just wild.
Gigs, welcome in. We did just talk about the Ravens versus Chiefs. Overall, great game. But we're both a little bit disappointed. Both think the Chiefs should have won that game. But, you know, we chalk it up to the Ravens and everything that they did. But, you know, focusing on the Raiders versus Steelers. Yeah, you know, I don't think... I think the defense is elite for the Steelers. I think they had a rough go over here. I think Derek Carr kind of came out and gave it to them a little bit. So I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's bad Steelers in a sense. But not too bad, because I'm not a believer in Ben Roethlisberger anymore. I think he's old. He's 39. He's immobile. He can't make the throws he used to be able to make. You know, and he can't move like he used to be able to move. And you know, I think it's just he's rough.
Definitely a statue back there.
Yeah, he's a statue back there, and that's just gonna make it that, you know, that makes it so much easier for opposing defenses. And when it's like that, it's just gonna set the Raiders offense or whatever offense they're playing against them in that much better field position and be able to score that much easier and put their defense in that much more of a bind. I think we saw that last week. So again, I think it's a little bit of both. You know, I think the Steelers have major offensive line issues. You know, I kind of feel bad for Najee Harris back there, rookie running back that they drafted. I thought that was an interesting pick by them. I don't necessarily mind the pick, but again, I don't know if it's the best thing to do. And I think the Steelers are kind of in stalemate. I don't think there's a whole lot they can do with their season. I kind of see them finishing, I don't know, 8-9. 9-8 maybe at best, and kind of being a cusp bubble playoff team. And on the Raiders side of the ball, I'm impressed. I mean, you gotta chalk it up to them. Derek Carr is doing his thing. You know, I'm not that much of a believer in John Gruden. I think he has one Super Bowl win. He did it with somebody else's team.
Exactly.
And I just don't think that he's that good of a coach, but I do think Derek Carr can be a decent player. And I think I do think the Raiders do have some great talent. I think, you know, Henry Ruggs is awesome. Peyton Barber is good. Kenya Drake is there. You know, Darren Waller is there, one of the best tight ends in the league. Hunter Renfrow, who's been, you know, kind of sneaky good. You know, Willie Snead's there.
Maybe like, I know this is year 5 of the John Gruden experiment, and that sounds so long.
Yeah.
To be a head coach, you know, of a team, to finally get your team actually running appropriately. But I mean, like,
they still haven't been in the playoffs.
Yeah, they still haven't been to the playoffs, but I mean, like, maybe finally now in this 5th year, they finally, you know, through a few drafts and free agency and whatever, maybe now they're finally starting to get the talent to be able to compete.
For sure.
It took 5 years, but I mean, like, if they can start competing for division titles and playoff wins and stuff like that, I mean, you know, maybe John Gruden will end up being worth that $100 million fully guaranteed contract. We'll have to see, I guess.
We'll have to see. Any more on the Raiders versus Pittsburgh?
No, I mean, yeah, huge win for the Raiders. Shocking loss for the Steelers.
Yep.
I'm gonna give the Raiders the credit and say that they earned it. And I mean, they're definitely on my radar now. I'm gonna be definitely paying closer attention to them than I already was, being a division rival.
I threw this one in here because I knew Iceman would be around, and it was an interesting game in itself. The 49ers over the Eagles. You know, 49ers won 17-11. Really kept the Eagles offense in check. I guess I'm not shocked by this either. I think we kind of knew that the 49ers defense is going to be stout, and they really came to play. That defensive line is incredible. They have good players in the secondary. But yeah, it really kept Jalen Hurts in check, and 12 of 23 for 190 yards. He had 10 carries for 82 yards and 1 touchdown.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts is looking like he might be, mini Lamar Jackson out here. Like, he looks like he can make some big plays with his legs. Kyler Murray also kind of the same thing. There's a lot of young, really good athletic, dual threat quarterbacks in the league now, and Jalen Hurts is one of them.
Yeah, Jimmy G, had a decent game overall too. 22 of 30 for 189 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks, an overall rating of about 100.6. I guess I kind of thought when thinking about this game and watching week 1, I guess one game isn't everything. You need to kind of remember that. But I thought that we'd see a little more offense in this game. But we really didn't. I don't think the Niners are an offensive based team. I think they win by defense and steady quarterback play. But just seeing how good Hurts played week 1, I thought that he would cause some issues for the 49ers. Maybe spread that defense out a little bit. Get them playing zone or and beat him with his legs. But that didn't happen this week. So. Yeah, I don't know, Lance. What are your thoughts here?
So I'm looking at the total stats of the game, and it's actually a lot more balanced than I thought it would be. The Eagles actually outgained the Niners in total yards, 328 to 306. Even though San Francisco's time of possession was almost 10 minutes longer. Yeah, I think of these major statistics I'm looking at right here, what stands out to me is 8 penalties by the Eagles. That's going to get you killed in close games. Yep. You can't do that. And then Philadelphia got sacked twice, and San Francisco didn't allow any sacks at all. So and they won the time of possession battle, so they kept Jalen Hurts off the field. So time of possession, penalties, and good defense is
pretty classic
really
win.
The 49ers this game.
Sounds like a good formula to get a W on the board, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Chad, again, I don't know if you guys have any more to add on this game itself. San Francisco's 2-0. We have Philly, who's 1-1. I'm gonna keep my eye on Philly though. I think Hurts might be able to do something, and I'm just kind of see where it goes. And then
if Jalen Hurts keeps progressing this year, I think he could definitely lead Philadelphia to a wild card spot in the NFC.
Ari, welcome in, and thank you for being here. Welcome to YARD39, a football-focused podcast. And then here in a little bit, we're actually going to jump over to Genshin, so stick around and let us know if you want to tune in and add anything to it. So, but yeah, welcome in. How are you?
Jimmy Garoppolo also, 22 of 30 for 189 yards and a touchdown. That's good efficiency, only 8 incompletions. He only had 189 yards and 1 touchdown, though. The 49ers, I guess, have never really been that much of a passing team. Yeah. They're much more focused on the ground, but Jimmy Garoppolo's stats may not, blow up to you. They may not jump off the page, but he's playing efficiently. He's not making mistakes and turning the ball over. So
he had 11 carries for 20 yards.
Yeah, with a team like they have, with such a good running game and a good defense, all you really do is need a quarterback that's competent enough to be able to control the game and not make big mistakes. And Jimmy Garoppolo can do that. So, I mean, like, I definitely think the 49ers are going to be a playoff team this year.
I agree. I would have to agree. Eagles line plan is really good. Ooh, finally Genshin. Yes, Genshin coming soon. Genshin is coming soon. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much more to add. I think we have one more game we want to review here. Unless you want to audible and talk about a different game here, Lance. But
so rather than the other game that we have on the list, actually, the game that I thought was much more interesting, if you want to, I wanted to go into New Orleans versus Carolina.
Sure.
I thought that was actually very surprising. You know, Jameis Winston, 5 touchdown passes last week, no touchdown passes this week, 0 turnovers last week. He had 2 interceptions this week, you know, only 111 passing yards. His completion percentage was 50%.
Yep.
He had 3 carries for 19 yards and a touchdown. So, I mean, like, I guess he did score that way, but I mean, like,
sacked 4 times.
Is this the way Jameis Winston's is this just the quarterback that he is? We saw him for so many years in Tampa Bay, have, you know, 5,000 yards, but then also 30 interceptions. You know, he's so up, he's so down, he's so inconsistent. Like, is this just the quarterback that Jameis Winston is? And is this what New Orleans is going to be, you know, dealing with for this entire year?
Yeah.
It blows my mind. You can go, you know, 5 touchdowns and no picks one week to no touchdowns and 2 picks the next week. Just the level of inconsistency, the erratic decision-making differences and stuff is just wild to me with Jameis Winston.
I think what we're gonna find with Jameis and the Saints is, I don't think they're quite as good as they looked in week 1. I don't think they're quite as bad as they looked in week 2. I think they're probably a little closer to how they looked in week 1, just knowing with Sean Payton and that defense is there. I think you know, I think this is just a tough game for Jameis. I think they played him really well. I think Sam Darnold on the outside, on the other half of the ball, which is interesting to put him in a new scenario to see how kind of you know, what he's going to do with Carolina, rather than them being with the, you know, the terrible organization that is the New York Jets.
Right,
you know, 26 of 38, 305 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, sacked twice, for an overall quarterback rating of 99.1.
Sam Darnold definitely looked good. Christian McCaffrey also looked
good. And that's where I was going next. And they do have Christian McCaffrey, who I think is S-tier running back in the league. It doesn't get much better than him. You know, they have DJ Moore there. Robbie Anderson is there. Terrence Marshall Jr. is there. They do have some good playmakers. You know, I don't think Carolina's a necessarily bad team, even maybe a fringe playoff team. And I think they had a better game. I think they kind of caught New Orleans off guard, and maybe Jameis, you know, that success in week 1 kind of got to his head, and maybe even for the entire offense. I think the other thing to note here too is Alvin Kamara. Where are you?
Right, exactly.
8 carries for 5 yards.
Yeah, that's for a player of his and then only 4 receptions for 25 yards. So he had 30 total yards on 12 touches. That's very un-Alvin Kamara like football right there.
You know, do you toss that up to coaching, just to a bad game or scheme? What is that?
I think that's probably a game plan thing. I mean, like, they got down early, and so look at these stats. Like, and this is what I'm talking about with the wild inconsistency. You go out in week 1 and you beat Green Bay down bad the way that you did.
Right.
But then listen to this. Like, Carolina, 383 total yards. New Orleans, only 128. Average yards per play for Carolina, 5.2 to 3 for New Orleans.
Right.
You know, they had more turnovers. They allowed 4 sacks. You know, their third down conversion efficiency, 18%. They only held the ball for 20 minutes and they committed 11 penalties. Like, it's such a wildly different game than we saw the way they played against Green Bay. It's
harder when you're down early.
Just wild to me. Sean Payton's a good coach. I know it's not the coaching. Like,
yeah,
he's one of the he's you know, upper echelon for sure levels of coaching that we have in this league. So I definitely don't pin it all on him. It's just why I wanted to talk about this game is just the difference between these last 2 weeks of
what do you
really eye-popping to me.
what do you see happening with the Saints moving forward?
Man, I mean, if Tampa Bay keeps playing as good as they do, I mean, like, they're going to win that division. So the most that New Orleans could hope for would be a wild card at that point. I still think they're good enough to be a wild card team, especially considering that the NFC's, not as strong as it used to be. It's very, very top heavy and then really kind of trickles down from there. You know what I mean? So I definitely think New Orleans has what it takes to be a wild card playoff team. If with this level of inconsistency, there's no way they're going to win their division over Tampa Bay. There's just no way. So
I would have to agree.
They really need to clean it up though. Like they can't be, so hot and so cold,
right.
Week in and week out. That's just they're not gonna win a Super Bowl that way.
I fully agree. Let's go into, so I kind of wanted to move in. So we're gonna here in a little bit, we're gonna make a couple picks. We're gonna preview week 3 in the NFL. Starting this Thursday night. But I first wanted to say, where are you at with your top 3 teams in the NFC, and where are you at with your top 3 teams in the AFC at this point?
All right, we'll do AFC first.
Okay.
I still think Kansas City has what it takes to be the best team in the entire conference. Like I said, Clyde doesn't fumble that ball and we still win despite how bad our defense is. And I mean, I would like to think, kind of also like you said, Kansas City's defense usually picks itself up middle of the season and kind of finishes stronger. So I'm not really worried there. Cleveland, they played Kansas City really tough and really close. And then, they had a pretty convincing win over Houston this last week. And then Buffalo. I mean, those are still my 3 best teams in the AFC right now. Probably in that order. Cleveland has played a little bit more consistently to me right now, so that's why I'll put them over Buffalo. But Kansas City, Cleveland, and Buffalo. And then as far as in the NFC, I mean, Tampa Bay, obviously, still at the top,
Yeah, 48 points, 5 touchdowns from Brady week 2.
Mm-hmm. He's thrown 9 touchdowns over the first 2 weeks of the season. Like, they already look mid-season for him. Obviously, I would never hope that this would happen, but barring some kind of, major injury or something, I mean, Tampa Bay is going to probably be the number 1 seed in the NFC for sure.
Yeah.
Green Bay, I kept them in my top 3 at the end of last week when they got beaten by the Saints. They did their job last night, and they
looked great.
They beat Detroit pretty badly. Aaron Rodgers bounced back like he always does. He had a 3-touchdown game. He looked really good. So I still have Green Bay in there. And then this is a little bit shocking just because I didn't think that it would happen, but I think the Arizona Cardinals.
I knew you were gonna go there.
The Arizona Cardinals just look so good right now. Like, Kyler Murray is playing out of his mind. You know what I mean? And they still have a really good defense with Chandler Jones and everything. Like, they have AJ Green and DeAndre Hopkins. They have a well-balanced team and a quarterback. A young athletic quarterback on the rise. And they're 2-0 right now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they look really impressive. I think that's probably what I would go with.
I think me and you are pretty much on the same page here. Also, Metro, welcome in. Welcome to YARD39, by the way, a podcast that Mr. Lancelot Gaming and I do every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Here in a little bit, we're going to move on to some Genshin content, but I hope you enjoy the podcast and feel free to contribute. I'm going to lurk and work. Do your thing, Metro. Thank you so much. Appreciate the lurk, though, but my guy. So, yeah, I think we're on the same page. In terms of the AFC, jumping back to that, I think it's definitely the Bills, the Chiefs, and the Bills, the Chiefs, and the
Browns.
And the Browns, and probably in the same over. I still think I put the Chiefs number 1 overall. I think, when you need a game to win, I think the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes and that offense gets you there. I think the And I do think Cleveland's been a little more consistent than the Bills thus far. You know, I think, especially in terms of quarterback play, I think Baker Mayfield has looked pretty good the past 2 weeks. I mean, 19 of 21 for 213 yards and 1 touchdown last week. That we all know about the 200 monster they have there in Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. They have playmakers on the outside, and they have a stout defense with Myles Garrett leading the charge. So I think they're.
Sorry to interrupt. One thing I did want to note about that though. I did just get word this morning that they just had to put Jarvis Landry on IR for an injury that he sustained in the game.
For how long?
It's looking like it might be the minimum amount of time, so probably 4 to 6 weeks. But I mean, Odell Beckham Jr.'s already been, banged up and stuff to start the year too. So it'll be interesting to see how that loss impacts them.
It'll be interesting to see when when OBJ gets back on the field. I'm a big fan. I think he's a good player, and I think you give him in a pass-happy offense, I think he can do some damage, especially with Jarvis Landry on the other side. It hasn't worked this far, but I think it can. So
you would think.
Yeah, and then I was really impressed with the Ravens. I think I don't know how often they get that lucky though. And I think, they're one fumble away from losing that game and being 0-2, right?
Yes, exactly.
And so I think
definitely credit to them though. They fought back from an 11-point hole twice.
Yes,
so,
threw 2 interceptions, and I think the Chiefs should have put them on him and should have been up further. I do think Buffalo is my 3rd best team in the AFC with the Ravens on their heels. Right. I think Lamar is that good, and I think that I do think they're well coached. We'll just have to see. But that would be it for the AFC. For the NFC, I think you're absolutely right. I think you got to put the Bucs at number 1. Tom Brady in that offense look phenomenal thus far. That defense is stout. We know it is. I don't think there's any argument there. Number 2, I don't know. I think the Rams might be up there for me as well.
Really?
Yeah, I think I'm a believer. I think Josh Allen can do it. I think with Aaron Donald and the defense over there, I think they have some awesome players, and I would not sleep on the Rams. I don't know if they're necessarily 2 or 3 for me, but my other team in the mix for the top 3, I think is the Packers. I think they just had a kind of a rough week 1. Aaron Rodgers just 22 of 27, 255 yards and 4 touchdowns. Aaron Jones looked awesome last night. Won the game for me in fantasy, so thank you.
Really?
And I was down about 20. He scored me 30 points, and we came back and won by like 4 points. So. And Devontae Adams
Rodgers to get me like 1 more touchdown, and I would have won. I lost by like 6 points.
Oof, rough.
Yeah.
Overall, great. We all know what Aaron Rodgers can do, and I think that would be my top 3 in the NFC. So.
Yep. That's a good list too. I mean, the Rams are a good football team.
Yeah.
It's hard to pick like a best team coming out of the NFC West. It really is.
Oh, I mean, because Arizona's right there for me too, and I'm a believer in Kyler Murray. I think he's special. I think he has weapons, and I'm not sure about Cliff Kingsbury though.
Right.
So I think that's my one hang up there, and I think.
And then even Seattle. Even though they lost to Tennessee, that game was in overtime. They still put up 30 points. Russell Wilson still looked great. Like the NFC is a loaded division. It's kind of tough to see who's going to come out of that that division number 1.
So looking forward, we have the Browns at Bears. I kind of want to talk about this. I thought it was interesting, everything going on. Let me jump over week 3 here. We're not really sure what's going on with Andy Dalton. We have we're not really sure what's going on with Andy Dalton, but maybe this is the week, if Andy Dalton can't play, that we get to see our boy
Justin Fields.
Justin Fields, who I do think puts him in a. Although you said, but I can't football anymore. No worries, Gigs. We'll see you a little bit later on. Come back when we start playing Genshin. Yeah, I think they have a stout defense. I don't think the Bears are that bad of a team, and I think if Justin Fields gets on the field, I think they could, possibly give the Browns a tough game. But I still have the Browns. If I gotta pick them, I'm still picking the Browns probably to win this, just with that offense and the consistency they've had thus far. I don't know. Oh, Matt. Oh my God, damn brain. Wow, haha, Ruby, Apex. Hi, Matt. Again. Whoa. Matt, welcome to YARD39, our podcast about football with Lancelot Gaming and myself. So, yeah, I do think the Browns have been consistent. I did think the quarterback situation in Chicago is interesting, but if I had to pick this game, I'd probably take Cleveland 24-14.
Yeah, I also think Cleveland is going to win. I mean, they are, I think, one of the powerhouse teams of the entire AFC. I think they have a better roster top to bottom than Chicago. Better defense, better offense. Probably a better coach too, honestly, maybe.
Yeah.
I do really hope, even though I think they're going to lose, I still hope that Justin Fields plays really well. I want him to get the starting job, honestly. I think Justin Fields makes Chicago just more fun to watch.
I agree.
An Andy Dalton-led offense.
And with that defense, I think it gives him a legit chance, right?
Yeah. And I mean, I'm looking at, keep in mind this is only through 2 weeks, but I'm also looking at like their total rankings so far. Through 2 weeks of the season, Chicago has the 30th ranked offense, and their passing attack is ranked 31st. So, I mean, Andy Dalton's not getting it done for you. Put in Justin Fields. But they also have, apparently the 8th ranked defense in the league right now. So, very one-sided as far as the strength of their team. The Browns are just much more consistent, much more evenly balanced. And they have, a much more like star-studded roster.
For sure.
I'm also going to pick the Cleveland Browns. I'm probably going to go 28-20.
Okay.
I think it'll be a little bit close, just because I think, Justin Fields is going to want to show out, and hopefully keep that starting job. But yeah, I think Cleveland 28-20.
Okay, so a little bit closer, but still Browns over the Bears there. So, all right. Moving on to our next game, and this one's also a little interesting for me, and it kind of almost feels, the Titans kind of played really well week 2. We have the Colts versus the Titans. Ryan Tannehill looked like himself again. Although, we did say, is he going to regress? But Derrick Henry looked awesome. Julio Jones has been playing really well for 9 receptions, 157 total yards on this season so far. Is this a must-win game for the Colts?
I think it is. Yes, I think if you fall, because they're 0-2 right now. Yeah.
Yep.
I think if you fall 0-3 to the Titans, and especially if you lose this game, then Tennessee's basically 4 games up, just because they own the tiebreaker.
Yep.
So I mean, like, I would absolutely say that this is a must-win, and unfortunately, I mean, if Derrick Henry, plays as good as he did last week, and if Carson Wentz can't play because of his ankles, and they're rolling out Jacob Eason as their backup quarterback, then I think that this is Tennessee all day. I really don't think there's anything Indianapolis is going to be able to do to win. I mean, especially
let me ask you this: what if they go out?
Hilton,
what if they go out and win against Tennessee with Eason?
Man, I mean, like
that gets interesting, right?
What's funny is that's completely possible, and that definitely does interest me. At that point, I mean, like, completely hypothetical question. Let's just say Indianapolis does roll out there and they do win, right? And let's say they win big. And let's just say Eason throws, 350 yards and 4 touchdowns, and he just looks fantastic. And Carson Wentz is still going to be hurt for a while with his ankles. Like,
yeah.
Is he already being benched, for another quarterback? Like, a backup again? Like,
I think those thoughts start to come into your brain a little bit, right? And
Right.
then, I think he probably gets another one more chance. I think Matt, you're awesome. Thank you so much. We're stepping in some Genshin here in a little bit, guys. We'll be done with the football. Thank you all for being here. Yeah, I think those thoughts start to creep up, and I think Wentz gets one more chance, but I think he has a short leash. I think he gets yanked easily, and I think if he gets pulled, and he doesn't do well, I think that's almost like career for him,
Right.
And like defining like where is he doing, and how or what is he doing, and where is he going at that point? I don't know.
I think a lot of that determines on like how good Jacob Eason plays in this game, because on the flip side of the coin, to the question that I asked, like if he comes out and he looks bad and throws 4 interceptions and the Colts only score like 3 points or whatever,
right,
then that's just gonna double them down on like, no, Carson Wentz is our quarterback and we need him to win kind of thing. So
Right.
I really think Carson Wentz's future might be in Jacob Eason's hands right now, on all honesty.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll have to see. But yeah, I mean,
Of course.
I think the Titans are going to win this game. I think they're going to win it big. I personally, I don't have much faith in their offense without Wentz and without T.Y. Hilton, and the coaching's not necessarily the best either, I don't think. So
Right.
I'm going to say this one I feel like is going to be kind of big. I'm going to say 31 to 17, 31 to 14. I'll say 31 to 14.
I think we're in the same boat. I'm gonna go. I'm also picking the Titans to win this game as well. And I'm gonna go 28 to 10.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, yeah. We'll have to see how good their offense looks, but I'm not gonna hold my breath.
All right, the one we're both excited for. The Chargers versus the Chiefs in Kansas City. 11 o'clock Mountain Standard Time this coming Sunday if you want to come.
Is this game in KC? Oh, it is.
It is in KC.
For whatever reason, I thought this game was in LA. Okay, cool.
Giggs would go Chargers. Lance, you want to start this one or?
Yeah, I'll take it off. Sure. Man, Kansas City, we're coming off that rough loss to Baltimore, but I mean, like, again, that's a game where it's in our hands. We had an opportunity to win. An unfortunate fumble on a great defensive play by the Ravens, ended up costing us that game, but
yeah,
the game was still very winnable. You know what I mean? It was depressing a little bit, but I still think, we're still one of the best teams in the entire league. Chargers are coming into our house, so we have home field advantage. I think we're going to be fine. Dude, I'm looking at the stat right now. We have the 32nd ranked defense in the NFL right now, apparently. That's just God. Anyway.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, it's bad.
Justin Herbert, I mean, is good. I thought he was going to be going through a little bit of a sophomore slump. It doesn't look like that's going to be the case. They still have Austin Eckler. He still looks really good. I mean, they still, they still have weapons on offense. I think this game is going to be close. I do think it's going to be competitive. I do think the Chargers are a good football team. I just can't imagine, Kansas City dropping 2 games in a row. I think that would, if that did happen, I think that would probably be like the first time in the Patrick Mahomes era, of dropping 2 games in a row. I'm not 100% positive about that stat, but I can't remember him dropping 2 games in.
But I don't know.
I can't remember that ever happening. I mean, like, especially anyway. I think Kansas City wins. I'd be really shocked otherwise. I do think it's going to be close, though. Probably pretty high scoring, knowing how bad our defense is. I'm going to go Kansas City over LA 34 to 31, 34 to 31.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's going to be high scoring, and I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be another really good game, just like the Baltimore game was.
You know, I think I echo a lot of your thoughts. I think maybe I think what is going to play into our hands a little bit here, though, is, you know, I think the Chargers are a pass happy offense with Justin Herbert at the helm. I think they like to throw the ball. I think they like to air it out, and that leads into, you know, maybe the one strength that we have so far this week, thus far, is our secondary. That can play with, you know, led by Tyler Matthew back there, and I think they are going to be forced to throw the ball, especially if the Chiefs can get up early.
Right.
So Chiefs get up early. I think they get forced to the ball, and that just puts the Chargers in a bind, and maybe Justin Herbert makes a mistake or two, like we saw last week, and when they lost to the Cowboys. You know, and they were held in check by the Cowboys. The Cowboys, all of a sudden, stout defense by so. You know,
also another big thing here is, you know, with the Ravens being such a run-heavy team that they are, you know, they knew that even if they got down, they were just going to keep running the football, and they're good at it, you know, with Lamar Jackson and just the way that they're coached. LA's not like that. I mean, they do have Justin Herbert, and they do have good receivers and stuff like that. So I think if they get down into a hole, I don't think they're going to try to run their way out of it. You know, I think they are going to try to throw their way out of it, and that leads into the strength of our defense. You know,
and I think
Honey Badger, L'Jarius Sneed, you know what I mean?
I think that leads to mistakes, and I think that leads to interceptions, and I think it puts the Chiefs up. So I don't think this one's gonna be as close. Actually, I think the Chiefs win this one pretty handily. I think it's a little bit of a statement game. I think the Chiefs come out fired up to win this. It's too early in the season. I don't, you know, we don't really have any major injuries. I think maybe Chris Jones gets after it. Maybe the linebackers may hopefully step up and play a little bit better after, you know, the embarrassing loss that, you know, our defense had last week. I give it to Kansas City 35-21.
Okay.
So
that sounds right. That sounds like that could definitely happen.
All right, our next game, we have the Saints. Oh, that's big sad, Gigs. That is big sad. That's okay though. I understand. I know you got to get up early. So,
have a good night, Gigs.
I think this game is interesting. You know, the Pats are 1-1. The Saints are 1-1. You know, they both have, you know, new quarterbacks at the helm. I'm not leaving yet, you twat donkeys. Okay. You can't call the host of the show twat donkeys. Okay, we can't do that.
Jeez.
Come on, twat donkeys, really?
Trying to run a professional podcast.
Oh God, we're trying to talk about football and you're over here calling us twat donkeys.
The audacity.
The audacity. You are a twat donkey. Anyway, yeah, you know, I think this is kind of an interesting matchup in the sense that, you know, the Patriots with the stout defense and how consistent they typically are. I think their biggest inconsistency is their quarterback play, and I think that's on both sides of the ball. For both teams actually. You know, you have Mac Jones, who's right now 51 for 69 for the season, 467 yards and 1 touchdown. You know, they're not a big run team, and then you know, their next best receiver is James White with 12 receptions for 94 yards. But they do have stout defense. I think they can kind of, you know, if they can get up and force Jameis Winston to kind of throw the ball, I think that's going to play right in the Patriots' hands. And I have the Patriots winning this game. You know, I think Bill Belichick's a good coach. I think Sean Payton's a good coach, but I just see this one as a bit of a chess match type of game, and I think that's how I think it's how Bill Belichick and the Patriots like it. And I have the Patriots winning this game, 21-18.
I also have the Patriots winning this game. Bill Belichick is a great coach, and then kind of like we talked about earlier, the erratic inconsistency with New Orleans. I don't know what to expect out of them.
Yeah.
I mean, are we gonna get the team that dropped 40 points on Green Bay, or are we gonna get the team from last week? There's just no consistency. I'm not a believer in Jameis Winston personally. I just don't think he has what it takes to be a long-term starter in this league and really to win big games. The Patriots do have a really, really good defense, and I think that's going to cause problems for Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
I think the only way that the Saints can win this game is if Alvin Kamara has a big day, but if he plays like he did last week, then there's definitely there's no hope. I do think it's going to be a little bit closer, though, just because, I mean, the Patriots aren't really explosive on offense either, so I definitely don't see it being a blowout. Probably a low-scoring, one-score game. I'm going to say New England 20 to New Orleans 13.
Ooh, Amanda, I love pasta. What kind of pasta did you get? I'm glad it was good though. So, yeah, I'm right there with you. I think we're on the same page, and I think we're echoing a lot of thoughts, and especially overall in our picks tonight. I think we're picking a lot of the same teams here.
Right.
Yeah, again, a low-scoring game, one kind of score game, and I don't have much more to add to be blunt, and it's a game I'll be paying attention to though, and I think I think if the Patriots want to stay with the rest of the AFC, which is, like we said earlier, I think it's the better conference, and it's pretty stacked this year. I think they need to win this. Otherwise,
I still think the Patriots are the second best team in the AFC East. I mean, they're right behind the Bills. I think the Patriots are better than the Dolphins or the Jets. So. Oh yeah, absolutely. They're still going to be competing for a playoff spot for sure.
We have 2 more games to review or to pick here. So let's see what this one. Bucks versus Rams. This should be a great game.
So you put both of these 2 teams in your top 3 in the conference
little
bit ago. So I'll let you take this one. This is going to be a clash of the Titans in your eyes. How do you see it playing?
It is a clash of the Titans in my eyes. I think this is I think Aaron Donald and that defense can give the Bucks, in that offensive line a little bit of trouble. It is Aaron Donald. I think he's the best player in the league outside of Patrick Mahomes. And I
agree with you there, actually.
I think I think this is going to be a really, really fun and great game to watch. I'm and I think if the Rams can come out and score early and force Tom Brady to really throw the ball and air it out more than he wants to, and not to have the play action, not to have the rushing that I think Tom Brady likes to play out of. I think that's tough. He can't just he won't have that much time to stand back there and really kind of dish the ball out, because he does have Aaron Jones coming at him every single play.
Right.
So I'm gonna go with the upset here. I think the Rams.
Really?
I think the Rams beat the Bucks.
I mean, the game is in LA.
It is in LA.
The Bucks have to travel to the other side of the country to play this game. So
I think the Rams beat the Bucks 28-20.
You bastard, you stole my thunder. I was actually also going to pick the Rams.
Wow, all right.
I didn't think you would. Yeah, I mean, I think the Rams are much more balanced. As far as, offensively and defensively. Aaron Donald is a nightmare. I think Matt Stafford has looked great. And I think he's only going to keep getting better as the season goes. I mean, don't get me wrong. The Bucs offense is, you know, a little bit scary. I mean, 4 more passing touchdowns or 5 more passing touchdowns yesterday. Tom Brady's already thrown 9 passing touchdowns over the first 2 weeks of the season. He looks in midseason form already. Their offense is definitely going to be scary. I think if the Rams defense can make a few big plays, though, I think Matthew Stafford has the weapons and the ability to keep them in the game and keep the score close. I think it'll come down to the wire. But I think the Rams have what it takes. I think they're one of the very few teams in the league that, you know, can go blow for blow with a team like the Buccaneers. So I'm also going to take the Rams to win in a closer game than a lot of people I think would predict. I'm going to go 30-27 Rams.
30-27. I'm excited for this game, honestly. This is going to be a game I think, you know, I'm going to watch. I try to look at every game a little bit here and there, but this is a game I'll be watching from start to end. I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic and a lot of fun to watch. So let's pay attention to this game. All right, our last game. Also, chat, feel free to make picks with us as well while we're doing this. So, yo, Ian.
Absolutely would love to hear what you guys think.
So, last game, Gigs, Iceman. We have the 49ers versus the Packers. Lance, I'm going to let you take this one first. Ian, welcome back, my friend.
All right, 49ers versus Packers. I mean, this game is huge, I think, as far as, like, late, you know, end of the season
implications.
Like playoff seeding. Exactly. I think that this game is going to be huge because I expect both of these teams to be in the playoffs. Man, the game is in San Francisco. San Francisco's 2-0. They look good. Green Bay's been a little bit inconsistent. Really bad loss week 1. Really big win week 2. You know, Aaron Rodgers, I trust more than Jimmy Garoppolo. I think, you know, I don't think anybody would argue that, you know, he's not a better quarterback. The Niners have a better run game. I'd say the Niners probably also have a better defense overall. The stats and the numbers in my head are telling me that, you know, San Francisco might be a better team, but I don't know. I kind of feel like Green Bay is going to come in and win this game. I really do. I guess more or less, if this game does turn into a shootout at the end of the game, I just don't know if I trust Jimmy Garoppolo to be able to win, you know, in that kind of scenario. Mm-hmm. But I know Aaron Rodgers, you know, if he has the ball, you know, with a minute left and he needs some points to win the game, I know he has the talent to be able to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is an upset or not. Apparently, ESPN is actually saying that the Niners are going to win. It's a 3.5-point spread. I think the Packers are going to win this game. I really do.
Okay.
I think it'll be close, but I mean, I believe in Aaron Rodgers, I guess. I'm gonna go Packers over the Niners. 28-21.
I think we see this game very much similar. I think Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers, and I think he's a competitor, and I think he I think he's gonna build off that win last season. I think he's gonna come out and have a really, really great game. You know, I think that, you know, the Packers have a good defense. You know, they obviously have Aaron Jones, and you know, the stat running game that they have. You know, I think the Niners are somewhat of the Packers' kryptonite in a way, though. I mean, dating back to the NFC Championship game 2 years ago, and just kind of shut out Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers plays well. I just think the Niners might play a little bit better here, and I think that defense gets after Rodgers. Maybe he makes a mistake. Still has a great game, but it might end up costing him. You know, I'm gonna go with I'm actually gonna go with the line here, and I'm gonna pick I'm gonna go and pick the Niners over Green Bay, 30-27.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's one of the only games that we've disagreed on as far as who we think is gonna win.
Yeah.
But I can see why you picked San Francisco.
Yeah.
I definitely think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be competitive, and I mean, you might be looking at the game of the week right here, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Rams Bucks is going to be absolutely fantastic, but I think this is another game that's going to be right there up there with it, and I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic and a lot of fun to watch. So a lot of good football. It's been a fun season so far. We're 2 weeks in. You know, things are very cloudy in both conferences. You know, we'll see what kind of teams can kind of keep the trend going that they're on. What teams kind of shake out and fall behind, and you know, if our team, the Chiefs, can ultimately maybe get the defense in check and continue to win some games here. So.
I think I'll wait another week or two, but I also wanted to do like some kind of segment eventually on like our biggest surprises of the year so far.
I like that.
Something to that effect.
We could do something, you know, like as we get through each quarter of the season, you know what I mean, and kind of say, hey, this is where we're at.
Yeah,
you
that
know,
could be cool, like a quarterly review kind of thing.
Quarterly review. This is who's leading each division. Where are we at? What's it going? So, yeah, man.
So I'm not gonna lie, man. Beating the Ravens and then beating the Steelers, I think the Raiders might be my biggest surprise.
I think I would have to Super Bowl commentators. Yeah, that'd be actually really dope. Don't let me think about it. Don't let me have those type of dreams.
We're on our way up.
We're on our way up. We're on our way up. Chat, Lance, anything you guys want to add? We're not going anywhere, chat, by the way. We're about to start the other part of you know, the regular scheduling programming here, but before we end,
please make sure you stay here for the second half of Swags' stream.
Anything you want to add on to YARD39 or chat you guys as well?
I think the only other thing that I really want to say is again, just thank everybody for being here. Thank everybody in the comment section, both in YouTube and here on Twitch. Thank you guys, chat, for being here, for vibing with us, for having fun. I hope you guys have enjoyed the content. This has been a really, really fun endeavor so far. I'm having a lot of fun with this podcast, and hopefully we just keep getting better, man. Yeah, dude, thank you so much for doing this with me and taking the time, guys. Next week the podcast will be on Lance's channel, so be sure to come check it out at 6 o'clock Mountain Standard Time next week. It should be a whole blast of a thing. We're gonna do it again. It fluctuates every week, but again, YARD39, an awesome podcast, and we get to talk about one of our passions here. So